Maybe now that's better. Ah, there. Now I'm louder. Well, welcome in. Let me find Tom here and see if he's ready. And then we'll get started. It's been a while. There's Tom.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, welcome in. For
Hey.
those that don't know
Uh,
that are here, this is What You Want to Know Wednesday. It is the interview show that I do. Was weekly, now every other week. I know that I'm glitching a little bit. Hopefully, my computer will catch up. It hasn't been turned on in 2.5 weeks. So,
nice.
yeah, that's what happens when you go out of town. So, tonight, thank you, Scott. Scott with our weekly raid. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Scott.
So, how I usually do this is I give a little bit of time for the guests to talk a little bit about themselves, whatever they want to let you know. And then we jump into our standard questions. And then I have some additional questions that we'll be doing. So, Tom, if you want to go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Tom. I'm known here on Whatnot as the Toothpaste King, but I also have, uh, a regular name and life outside of Whatnot. I'm 45. I live in Pennsylvania, about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia. Married with two kids and about 1,400 records. uh, 600 tapes and 300 CDs. Those are
You're
my children.
answering my future questions.
Oh shit. All right. Well, I'm getting in front of it. Since you're going to surprise me with some doozies, I figure I may as well just knock out some of the low hanging fruit right off the off the
Yes,
rip.
for those that don't know, I got a little bit more creative for this show. I found some new kind of random questions, favorites, just to kind of get to know people more on a personal level than just a seller level. So,
Okay, cool. Well, I'll talk a little bit about my seller ship. I sell in all formats of music. Well, all the three major ones, I guess. I've been on the platform since December of no, October of 22, and I've been selling since December of that year. So it'll be almost 3 years this December. It'll be 3 years this December that I've been selling on Whatnot. Um, and I have found the platform to be a fantastic place to meet like-minded people and make new friends and chat about stuff that I don't normally get to chat about, with everyone, um, in terms of my musical tastes and just bullshitting. I'm a big fan of just chatting in the chat, getting to know people, making relationships. I think that's what this app is great for. It's what I spent the first 6 months doing. Really was buying records and just getting to know
yep,
all the sellers that were on here then, and a lot of them are still here. Many of them are gone. Seen some good sellers come and go, um, but yeah, it's been great. And I don't do shows on a regular basis. I'm sort of like when I'm ready to do a show, I'll do a show. I try to stick to a particular time, so I'm always on like around this time of night, whatever day I go. And I think the one thing that I am doing more consistently now, or I'm taking part in a couple of the raid trains, and that's been great. And getting a cassette raid train off the ground. Um, I'm one of the, I would say one of the more active cassette sellers on Whatnot. We have a small niche community for cassettes, and again, another great, very tight knit community that loves the format, and it's growing. And so I've pulled together a raid train, kind of like what Retro does for um,
yeah.
for vinyl, and we do that every other month. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm happy to be here and excited to answer any and all questions.
Can you see the chat? Or because I can
Yes,
read what it says.
Son
There's
says he's
lots
me.
of things. I think Shark really just wants you to say hi. I'm Tom.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tom.
There we go.
They want, yeah, they want the 51st dates thing.
Is that
Yeah.
better, Mark?
You happy now, Sean?
Okay. I had it
Happy
down a little
Pappy?
because my kiddo's in the other room by himself and he gets excited, and I didn't want to you get screaming in your
Yes.
ears.
Mine are downstairs screaming, so
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
we'll deal with it
Okay.
together.
So, our standard questions. Now, if you would like to, I don't know if you've already done it, but if you want to replace vinyl with cassette or CD, you can. So, what
Okay.
is the favorite vinyl you own in your collection?
So this was a tough one. I spent a bit of time thinking about it, and I think I boiled it down to two. I have an OG UK Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, Smashing Pumpkins. They're my favorite band, and that album, while it's not my favorite Smashing Pumpkins album, I like Siamese Dream better. That album holds like some sentimental value for me because it was like the one album that both my sister and I liked growing up, and we fought a lot when we were young. So
Yeah.
I remember bonding with her over that album because it kind of was like in that transitional time when I was getting a little older and she was getting into music more, and she loved it. And so I always was hunting for an OG press of the Smashing Pumpkins, and I found it. So I think that's my favorite
Nice.
one, but followed very, very closely by my Japanese press of the Weezer Blue album, where you can see their feet. And I just want to show it because I think it's cool. It's the only version of the record where you can see their feet. On every
I've
other
noticed
version, their
that.
feet are cut off.
Yeah.
So this is also one of my faves. So those would be the two. And I have some favorite tapes too, but I can't think of them off the top of my head.
It's
I didn't
okay.
spend time with that.
By the way, Iowa Brewer did guess your favorite vinyl before you
I
said
know.
it.
He is clever, that Kyle.
What is the most random vinyl in your collection?
So this question is very timely because I literally just got what I consider to be the most random vinyl in my collection. And again, I want to show it because it's super weird. This is called Silent Meditation. It is pressed on clear vinyl, and both sides are 20 minutes of complete silence. It is made for meditation and compatible with all meditation traditions. It also does not require a record player to be fully enjoyed. Technically, it doesn't even require this record.
Okay.
So this, I'd say, is my most random vinyl.
That is
I
the
haven't
most random vinyl I've seen.
I haven't even opened it yet. It is still sealed. I may have a couple.
Audiophile
I may have
press.
another copy. It's an audiophile press, 103,000 gram virgin vinyl, for all you know, right? It might not even exist. So
There might be nothing in there.
there might not be, but I think there might be. It's also the perfect gift for anyone that wants nothing. The perfect gift for someone who wants nothing.
I
So
feel like that's the perfect gift for a lot of people. You ask them what do
I
you want for your birthday, they say nothing, and that is now what you get them.
I know I'm going to give this to my sister and keep one for myself.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
Very random.
super
Uh,
random.
my random vinyl I got from you. I don't know if you saw that show, but it was my Olympic vinyl.
The Olympic vinyl. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right. You tagged me. I think when you was that during your interview with Molly that you
yeah,
showed that vinyl. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Still
I
have
remember
it. It's
telling you
still on
that.
the shelf. It didn't get sold.
That is a very cool
Um,
one.
yeah. What is an artist that you listen to that people would be surprised to know?
I would say early '90s R&B, but specifically like Keisha Cole, Tony Braxton, Mary J. Blige. I don't
Okay.
think a lot of people peg me as a big Keisha Cole fan, but I really like Keisha Cole. I think she was spectacular songwriter, beautiful voice. She didn't really make a whole lot of albums. She made a lot of singles, but not a lot of full albums, and they're super hard to find. But my wife turned me on to her many years ago, and she's great. So I'd say that'd probably be it. Thanks,
I feel like
Travis.
if you have children, you have to at least halfway like the Wiggles for some point of your life.
Or we could spend 10 minutes talking about Perry Grip. But Perry
I
Grip,
love
I
Perry
don't
Grip.
know if anybody would be surprised if I said that I had kids. They wouldn't be surprised to learn that I like Perry Grip.
No.
But Perry Grip is
Do you have the picture disc with the waffles dancing?
No, is that the Zoetrope one?
Yeah,
Yeah. I saw that for sale where I was at a record store recently, and I didn't pick it up because I didn't recognize any of the songs. They were all like different songs because the boys,
they
my
are.
kids, they like other ones that are on Spotify, and they're not on any album that I can find, like on any
The
physical
songs on that Zoetrope
format.
are hilarious. There's one about like coffee and a coffee stain. I feel like some of them
Ooh.
are geared towards the parents. So I would check
Yes,
it out if you can.
I will. I will look and see if it's still where I saw it. I have a feeling it's not. I think Perry Grip's one of those artists you just don't see on vinyl very
I,
often. But
I got it on VC.
did you really?
Hmm.
All right, I guess I'll have to tune into VC for the first time in like
Sometime, yeah.
9 months.
Yeah, a
So
coffee stain, right, DK?
my favorite Perry
um,
Grip songs are Meatball and Waffle City. So the Dancing Waffles, I should probably just get that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's cool. What is an unpopular musical opinion that you have?
Oh, well, some of you who are on Whatnot probably know that I am not a big fan of Morrissey. That's been well documented in the chat and in other rooms in the past. So that was fun. But I would say that so that might be an unpopular musical opinion. But I like the Smiths. So maybe that's the unpopular part is that I can't decide between the Smiths and Morrissey. Can you separate the two? I think you can.
I think you
Um,
can.
and I have my own opinions on why, but I'll keep them to myself because I got in trouble for that last time.
Okay. If
Um,
you could, oh,
yeah,
sorry, was there more?
no, go ahead.
If you could be any vinyl variant, so what it would look like, what would you be?
Camouflage.
What color? Regular classic camo?
Yeah, like green, black, brown.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen a camouflage vinyl in my life.
I don't think I have either, but I don't doubt there's something out there,
That would be really cool. Someone get on that who has access to a pressing plant,
right?
please.
If you could have dinner with any artist who is no longer alive and then any artist who is alive, who would it be and why?
I think I would probably say Chris Cornell, maybe. Um, I always kind of admired his story. He has a very interesting background, and I thought that his musical tastes were, very diverse. He seems like the kind of guy. He seemed like the kind of guy that I would vibe with very well. So I think he would be a really interesting person to get to know and have dinner with. What was the other question? A living
Someone who
artist?
is living.
Man, that's a tough one. Um, Stephen Jenkins from Third Eye Blind.
Okay, I think that's a good. You could have dinner with the whole band.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would probably want to have dinner with the whole band because I think I'd want to punch him halfway through dinner. Yeah, but I know, Josh. I've never met him, um, but he's interesting, right? And I like his music. I find him to be kind of like a fascinating person. Like I listened to some of his interviews. He's just I don't know, he's one of those weird thinkers that,
yeah.
again, I just don't think that way. So
You want to pick his brain.
pick the brain of a person
Yeah.
who thinks in a completely different way than I do, I think would be interesting. And that's just one example that I can think of. That's just sitting here in awkward silence for, a minute while I rack my
Yeah.
brain. Um, but I've never met him, but I have actually met the rest of the band.
Oh, cool.
And they all seem cool. But he is sort of a bit of a diva. I'll say that. So
There you go. Um, what turntable or turntables do you own at home?
I have two. I have a Rega RP3 sitting right here. I'm actually in my music room, which I never stream from ever, because it's not really conducive to like pulling records out and showing them. Um, But this is where I do a lot of my listening, like at home on my own. I have the Rega up here, the RP3,
Thank
and
you.
then hey, thank you, Cape Cod. Andy, how are you doing? And then I have also a Technics. I don't know what it is. It's an old one. It was actually my parents'. So it was my the record player we had in our house growing up, and it sat in a state of disrepair for years. And I resurrected it and fixed it up, and that's the one downstairs that I use for test playing all the records that I sell. And when people request to listen to stuff, or if I put stuff on for shows, that's in the basement where I do all my shows. So where you guys recognize the background there with the TV and all that stuff, that's in downstairs. So those are the two turntables that I have.
If you're in your music room, do you have a turntable, a way to play cassettes,
Oh,
and also a CD player?
I sure do. I have a Rega Planet CD player, which is like a top loader. It's very rare. It's very cool. So it's a Rega as well. That's a British company that makes turntables. They don't make CD players anymore. This is like a vintage one. And then I have a Nakamichi RX505 cassette deck, which is very cool. It has a cartridge. When you reverse the tape, the entire cartridge comes out and flips the tape around like that and
Oh,
goes
that's
back in.
cool.
Yeah, so it's like a
Yeah.
cool conversation piece. It's also one of the best sounding tape decks that I have. And what I was going to say earlier as my other unpopular musical opinion, and if Echo Waves is still in here, I really want him to hear this, that if you have the right equipment, cassettes can sound as good as records. Unpopular opinion number two for the evening.
We've got lies.
Lies, yes. Josh. Josh has had his fair share of adventures with tape decks, so he's jaded.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Scott says, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So you already answered the question, but for those who weren't here, how many vinyl cassettes and CDs do you have in your collection?
Yeah, so I have about 1,400, might be 1,500 records. I have about 600 tapes and somewhere around 300 or 400 CDs.
And what do you think the biggest genre of music you have overall in your collection is?
Probably punk rock, emo, hardcore.
Okay.
Followed very closely by alternative. I think they're kind of neck and neck. I have a lot of 90s alternative, a lot of more modern alternative. So maybe that might be a little bit more, but they're very close. I think 70% of my entire collection is those two genres.
Do you have a lot of repeats where you have the vinyl, the cassette, and the CD, or do you use the formats for different things?
It depends on what the album is. So some of the essential, in my mind, the essentials, the 90s records that I grew up listening to and have like special places in my heart, I have on all formats. Um, and I try to collect multiple variants of those, like some of the 90s classics like Siamese Dream and Super Unknown and Third Eye Blind's first one. I have like original pressings of those plus represses of those. Um, I actually just picked up another OG Siamese Dream, so I have two. So certain albums that I love, I collect on all formats and then on multiple versions of the formats. But then there are some artists and genres where I'll sort of stick to one lane. So I'll be like, okay, I have all the Jimmy Eat World albums on CD, and I'm good there because I love Jimmy Eat World, but I don't want to buy like 7 records. I don't love them that much to go out and invest like another $300 on buying the entire discography on vinyl. So I'm very happy to kind of say, okay, I've got certain artists and I'm very comfortable keeping them on a certain format, and then other ones where I really want to get them on vinyl or cassette. And then cassette can sometimes be if I'm exploring new genres or artists' back catalogs and this releases that I don't really know a lot about. I'll buy them on cassette first because I can get them for like $4, $3,
Yeah.
$4, right? And then if I really
Hmm.
like it, I'll upgrade and sell the tape. So
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a great system.
yeah, it works.
Um, if you could bring only one album to a deserted island that just happens to have a solar power setup, what album would you bring?
I think I already said it. It would be Siamese Dream. by Smashing Pumpkins. It's my
The
all-time
first time I asked the
favorite
question,
album.
I got slack about the fact that you're on a deserted island, there's no electricity. So I have to add in every time that there's a solar powered system
You
so
have
that
to
you
come
can
up with
listen to
some
it.
kind of reason. Yeah, I
Yes.
like that. I would have to have gotten the solar powered rig to the island though, and the question is how
Oh,
would
it's
that have
just
happened?
there
Was it on the
for
plane? Oh, it
anyone
was
who
just
ends up
there. Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna say maybe it was on the plane and I was able to like salvage the parts and rebuild it, like Castaway, you know?
I, it's called Solar Vinyl Island. That's what I'm going with.
I like that. Yeah, hydraulic power. It's like the island from Lost where like there's something under the ground that just runs it and we don't know what it is. It's that crazy
There we go.
glowing
That's
ball.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's that.
Okay, let's get to some whatnot stuff. Tell us how you came up with your name.
Ah, I get this a lot. This is probably the number one question I get asked. And I always feel like I disappoint people. Like explain the reason. I've had the username forever. So it wasn't just whatnot that I created it for. I've used it in various formats since 2099, I want to say. Um, I I don't really know how I ended up with this, but when I first got AOL Instant Messenger back in the late 90s, um, I was Pasteman 222. That was my handle on IM. And I don't know how I came up with it. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I barely remember what happened last week, let alone in 1999. Um, and uh, and I used that for years. And then when I got my first email address, I think Pasteman was taken. So I just sort of riffed on it and came up with Toothpaste King, and I used that for my first email address. And I've used it ever since because it's never used. So I'm never Toothpaste King 1 or Toothpaste King 123. I'm always just Toothpaste King. And so it's been like sort of my internet handle for the existence of the internet in its modern form, and that's how it came to be on Whatnot.
So, where did Paste
Yes.
Man come from?
A lot of people think I am a dentist, which is why I feel like I disappoint so many people because they're like, "Oh, are you a dentist?" Because being a dentist, it's like, hey, you fix people's teeth, you make people happy, and they smile and they look nice. No, I'm just some jackass who has the name toothpaste in
I
his
think your story
username.
is much better than you being a dentist.
And like, I feel because then I'll see like a guy like there's a user on here called Grateful Dentist. I bet he's a dentist, and so he's Grateful Dentist, and I feel like he's that's what he's supposed to be.
Scott
And so I
says,
feel
"Yep,
like a
he
fraud.
is."
Yep, he is. He's actually an Undertaker.
So,
Paste. So again, I don't know where Pacement. It was. It could have been a evening where I had a few too many and just decided I was going to like
you couldn't remember
create
the name of the
an
song
instant messenger
Spoon Man,
account
so you
to
were like Paste Man.
something something to that effect. I wish I could remember. I wish that I had like a better story to tell about how Paceman came to be. But maybe it appeared to me in a dream, you know? Um, I could see you having like a dream about toothpaste. It's one of those weird things that would pop up in your dreams. So,
So, being that you are
yes, lots of
the
paste.
king
Thank you,
of
Janet.
toothpaste, what toothpaste do you use?
I use Pronamel because I have bad enamel on my teeth and they're very sensitive because I'm old. So, um, So that is the toothpaste that I use. I used to use Aquafresh for years and years and years. It is my favorite toothpaste. They don't make it anymore, which is sad. Um, but yeah, I use Pronamel, and I switch it up. Sometimes I'll do the green cap. Sometimes I'll do the silver cap. It's very exciting stuff. So you never know what's going to
Do
happen when I
you
go to the
go to
grocery
the
store.
dentist twice a year?
hmm
Do
I
you
am
floss?
I floss every night, but I have these. See these? They're like fangs here and here.
Yeah.
So my teeth are kind of crowded together. They're very healthy, but they're not perfectly straight.
Have you
I
ever
uh, I
had
had a
braces?
retainer. I had a
Oh,
retainer when I was young. I hated it. Um, I can still replicate the noise that I would make to get food out of it. And then I never got braces because my parents couldn't afford them. They couldn't afford them. So they said, I just, they were like, okay. And like I said, the teeth have been good, and they just look crooked. So
How does the king of toothpaste feel about gum?
I'm not a fan.
And
Not a fan
I
of
had
gum.
two questions submitted.
Okay.
Uh, if
Submitted
four out of
like in
five
advance.
dentists, yes, you'll know who
Wow.
they're from. If 4 out of 5 dentists recommend something, what does the toothpaste king say?
The Toothpaste King says that the dentists are the experts, and you should listen to them. And I have a special stamp that I can put on that product to endorse it, but it's still being manufactured. So,
And lastly, how do you feel about cinnamon toothpaste?
oh my God, don't even get me started. Is Johnny in here? Johnny's not in
No,
here.
but they asked the questions. They're sleeping. They'll
I
watch this on
remember,
YouTube tomorrow.
I remember them saying that. Cinnamon toothpaste is a crime against nature. Sorry, Johnny, but
Yeah, I agree.
I
I
don't.
want my mouth to feel fresh, not like I just ate something cinnamony.
Yeah, it's just not. It's funny. I think we are also just as a society wired to expect toothpaste to taste like mint, and so I can't even envision a world in which my toothpaste tasted otherwise.
Yeah.
Um, And I didn't even know they made it until yesterday. I was
Oh, really?
yesterday years old when I discovered that cinnamon toothpaste was still available to purchase for grown-ups.
Yeah. For grown-ups, that was the
For
whole
grown-ups,
thing.
that's the key thing right there. Because I definitely thought Johnny brushed with, like, bubblegum, Paw Patrol, Orajel, whatever you call.
I thought he just brushed with like baking soda. I mean, he's in the army. Maybe he just
Yeah.
put some baking soda on there and rubs it around. I did
Big
not
Mint,
think it was going to be cinnamon.
no. You gotta be careful. Big Mint has a lot of power, um, in the toothpaste industry, Scott. You have no idea. It's like a whole smoking man David Duchovny
Mm.
situation.
Hmm. Um, Off of the toothpaste questions, that was just for fun.
That was good. I
Um,
like that. Keep them coming,
do you,
please.
you'll
I'll
wait
continue to
till we
make
get
up
to
nonsense answers.
our quick fire fun round. I have
Oh my
lots of
god.
new stuff tonight. Do you have
I'm glad.
anything
I'm
you've?
so happy to be the guinea pig for your new stuff, Stacey. This is
Oh
super
no, I've
great.
done new stuff with other people too, but I think this will be more fun.
All right.
Is there anything you've sold on Whatnot that you regret selling and you wish you kept?
No, because I am very deliberate with what I sell on Whatnot. I curate every show, and pretty much everything that I sell has had a good bit of thought put behind it, especially if it's something that I maybe would have considered keeping. Um, so I don't think I've ever sold something and then regretted it.
Is there anything that you have not won an auction for on Whatnot that you were later like, man, I should have just bid more?
Um, Gosh, I have this vague recollection. So those of you that know me know that I don't buy a lot of stuff. I am like, I'm pretty stingy when it comes to buying. um, on Whatnot. And I do remember though there was a it was the street it was at the streets on the streets. No, it was in Vinyl Jerk show. And he doesn't do very many streams. And if you guys know Vinyl Jerk, but he's got like a crazy soundtrack collection. It was Dumb and Dumber. That's what it was. It was the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack. And he had the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack. And I've seen it actually a couple other times after that and missed it. Like I saw like Robska had it once in the soundtrack show, but it was a Vinyl Jerk show, and I think it got bid up over $200, and I
Wow.
just yeah, I just stopped. But it is a record that I want, but it's like there's a lot of records that I think people would say they want, but they don't want to pay what it's worth,
Yeah.
right? So we just sit and wait for to get
For a
lucky
good deal to come on. Yeah,
someday just
exactly.
to find it in the wild or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Tony Pauls asked, "Do you prefer to sell vinyl or cassettes?"
I like selling cassettes because I think I have more of a connection to that format than records. I love records, but I didn't grow up when records were popular. They
Yeah.
were pretty much dead in the 90s, 80s and 90s, or late 80s, early 90s. And but I had but I would get tapes all the time and I would get CDs all the time. So I think I prefer selling the formats I grew up with. And I just like the I like the vibe of the cassette tape, and the portability of it, and just it has a kind of certain cool factor because it is harder to find certain releases on cassette. It's hard to find Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness on cassette
Right.
with the original cardboard sleeve, but you can find it on CD pretty much anywhere you go. So I
Yeah.
think cassette's probably my favorite format to sell.
Okay. What is your favorite part of being on Whatnot?
The community, and the ability to talk a lot of shit in a respectful way in all of everyone's shows and have fun with it. I like to do that. I enjoy going back and forth with people on different topics, um, be they music related or not. Um, I think I've met some really interesting people on Whatnot, and I don't think I would have. I didn't. I don't think I would be here. I would not have expected to have been this involved in the community. When I started out. I think it's the people that are here and that buy and that appreciate what I do and that talk to me and engage with me that make this such a unique format to sell and just a unique format to do things like this, right? Where we just get to know each other. So yeah,
Yeah. There's lots of days where I'm like, I don't want to do another Whatnot show ever again. And I'm like, but people might miss me, so I should just go back and say hello. And then I'm like,
yeah,
okay, well, now I'm here again.
yep, yeah, and then you just get sucked right back in.
Yeah.
And yes, I was the only person to block Andy, but I did not do it maliciously. I don't even know how it happened. And then he was like, "Tom, why did you block me?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I am so sorry." That was fun.
Accidental blockings.
Accidental blockings. It does happen from time to time, but
If there was something that
thanks, Sean.
you could tell buyers, like anything that you would want to tell buyers, what would you tell them? Like that they might
Always.
not know about,
Oh, about
like about selling on Whatnot.
so they might not know the amount of effort that goes into curating a show um, is massive. It's not like we're not looking for sympathy, right? But we spend a lot of time. Um, I spend a lot of time. Like I like to curate my shows, um, and I curate what I buy, and I try to look for things that um, I think people will want, but also that people don't often see on Whatnot. So when I'm out looking for stuff, I try to key in on that type of thing and say like I'm bringing some things that you don't often see. So I think that I think if buyers appreciate the time that the sellers put into curating these shows and trying to bring cool stuff to each one that's different and unique, um, that goes a long way. I think that there's definitely a lot of work that goes into getting the shows ready that the buyers don't really see. They just kind of see the end result,
Right.
and it's great, but it is a reality. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of ways that I'll tell sellers, and I don't know if, but there's a lot of ways you can cut those prep times down and not spend too much
Hey,
time
Andy.
curating the shows. See you later, Andy. But it is a Herculean effort to get these shows ready and to list these things and to clean them and to take pictures of them and put it in a way that is visually appealing and show them everyone. If you're a buyer, make sure you ask the sellers to show the records,
Yes,
please.
please.
Very important.
um, do you think whatnot has changed you in any way, and if so, how?
I'm a lot more comfortable on camera, and I
And
think that
talking
that's
to a
been
silent room, right?
and talking to a silent room and like yeah, just like I am not an outgoing person like by nature. I am relatively introverted. um Whatnot has helped me get more comfortable um in this kind of shut up, Josh. That's a different kind of camera. Those have like the splash guards on the front, so don't worry about that. Yeah, there you go, RB. Curated shows are more fun and informative. I agree. I am 100% behind that. That's why I like to do it that way. But yeah, and like I feel more comfortable on camera. I feel more comfortable manufacturing things to talk about, right? Or just being quiet and packing records for 2 hours and not really saying much, right? But I also found that it helps me in my job. So this is not my full time. I'm sure maybe this is a question for a future thing, so I
You
won't
can
get too
answer
far
it
into
now.
it. Okay, it's not my full time gig. I do this for fun. I do it to feed my hobby, and to buy more records for myself and to buy more records for you guys to bring to Whatnot. Um, but I have a full time job, and I work for a big media company doing like project management for finance project management, and I run a lot of meetings, and they're all on Teams. And obviously, over COVID, Teams got more popular, and I think it's interesting to see from a cultural perspective at companies how many people go on camera says a lot about how the culture of that company is, in my opinion. I was worked at a company where no one ever went on camera on the Teams calls, and the culture was not great. And at this company where I'm at now, many more people go on camera. I'm always on camera, and I used to be kind of more of in that other camp where I wouldn't go on camera very often. But now it's like if I'm not on camera, there's a really particular reason why I'm not. So I think Whatnot's really helped me get a lot more comfortable in that, and I think that's helped in my professional life as well, just to be more comfortable in this format and not feel like I'm making a fool of myself visually.
You guys, nobody ever wears pants when they work from home.
Oh yeah, you should see, I have shirts. So I have shirts in my closet that I used to wear when I went into the office every day. And obviously, I don't really wear them anymore. I haven't gone into a job in an office in 7 years.
Yeah.
So I've been remote work for a really long time. So now I use my shirts as like a stage prop. So I'll like get up in the morning and I want to ride the bike, but I'm like, I have a meeting at 8:30, so I just get a shirt. I put it over top of my workout shirt, and then I have my call, and then I go ride the bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I've
like,
been
yeah, I'm
home.
having sleep shorts and the whole 9 yards down here. So
Yeah. I've been home a little over 5 years. And before that, I only worked 2 days out of 4 in the office. So I was basically home. So I get it. It's always like daytime pajamas and nighttime pajamas. And then you just throw on a shirt and then throw on your other one after you're done with your meeting. So,
yes, and like where I used to work at Meta, the company that
mm-hmm.
owns Instagram and Facebook, similar kind of job. It was consulting, doing like finance, and they were much more casual. So I could wear like a t-shirt on conference calls all the time. Here is a bit more like you have to wear a shirt with a collar. You don't have to, but everyone does. So I
Yeah.
feel like I should. So I don't just wear t-shirts every single day. Um, but I definitely don't go to many more lengths than a shirt with a collar. That's as far
Yeah.
as I'll go. So
Okay.
assless chaps.
We're going into what used to be called the quick fire round. The first part of the questions is not going to be like a whatever is on the top of your head when I say it. They're going to be actual questions about your favorite things.
Okay.
So, what is your favorite city in the US besides the one you live in?
Seattle.
What is your favorite color?
Red.
Favorite day of the week?
Ooh. Wednesdays.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Favorite number?
5.
Iowa wants to know who says Wednesdays?
That's my bowling night.
There you go. Did I take you away from your bowling night or you went bowling first?
No, we won the championship in our bowling league, and
There
that
you go.
was 2
Congrats.
weeks ago. And so we're done for the summer.
There you go.
And Wednesdays
Um,
are always like, you're halfway done. So
right,
I like that. So,
exactly.
yes.
Um,
I'm a hump day guy.
what is what is your favorite season?
Autumn.
What has been your favorite age so far?
Gosh. Um, I don't know. Like 40 to like where I am now, I'm 45. Um, I I feel a lot more comfortable in my own skin, I think now than I ever have. Um, so I'd say the last 5 years, any of those ages.
There's a favorite question in the chat. So, what's your favorite genre to sell?
Favorite genre to sell? It's probably alternative, 90s alternative, grunge, German spoken word. That's second favorite. And then third favorite is complete silent records.
Yeah.
So everyone, don't bid it up too high. I can get more copies.
Um, what is your favorite holiday movie?
Home Alone,
Favorite movie genre?
comedy, 2000s, 90s and 2000s comedy. Big fan.
Favorite rainy day activity?
Listening to records.
Favorite sport to watch?
Baseball. Big Phillies fan.
Okay. I was going to
You
ask what
can't see the
team you
pennant.
answered.
Oh yeah, see it's right there. It is.
Oh,
See
yep.
it up
See it
there?
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah.
What's your favorite summer activity?
Hey, what's up, Jenna? My
Hey,
favorite
Jenna.
summer activity, grilling. I love to
What
grill.
is what's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving?
My mom makes this, it's called sausage stuffing. So it's like mashed potatoes with the Jimmy Dean sausage, like broken up into it. She puts paprika on the top and bakes it in the oven. So it's got like kind of a crispy top.
Sounds
That's my
good.
fave. Yeah, it's very
What's your
good.
favorite way to work out?
I ride the Peloton, so I'm a biker. Yeah.
What is your favorite cartoon show when you were growing up?
Oh gosh. I don't think I really watched a whole lot of cartoons. I have this vivid memory of does anyone remember Turbo Teen? It was a sort of obscure animated cartoon where where a kid turned into a car, and it would always freak me out, but I loved it. Like I would always get scared to watch him morph into the car because his hands would like turn into wheels.
So is it like
And
the original Transformers?
kind of, or like you ever hear about these like animorphs, right? Does
Mm-hmm.
your son like animorphs? Yeah, where it's like kind of like that strange way of like morphing
Yeah.
into like something else. Yeah, it was like that. I love the cartoon, but I would always get like perturbed by the way in which he turned into the car. But I love the show, like the show. So
I feel like now I'm gonna have to look this up.
yeah, it's very much an obscure one. I might be confusing nightmares with reality. I remember hiding behind the couch when it happened, like when it first started, and then I got really into it and I watched it a lot. So,
Okay. These are random questions. They're gonna be funny. They're not serious. So I'm just gonna have fun with it.
all right.
A velociraptor attacks your house. Where do you hide?
They got to crawl up the chimney
My kid was answering the question
a little
in this
bit.
other room. He's like, hide somewhere.
Yeah, they'd never find me in the fireplace. Plus, the
Okay.
stone would block the smell. I think it's pretty thick.
Are rats cute?
Are rats cute? If you put enough makeup on them, maybe.
Define the word zeitgeist.
It is a sort of good Smashing Pumpkins song.
How can you tell if someone is a nerd?
I look in the mirror, um, and then I just kind of gauge from there. No, I think if you have a a passion for something, you're a nerd, but that isn't a bad thing.
Yeah. It's like when you geek out on something. That's where it came from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is human life more valuable than the life of a dog?
Gosh, these are like
Depends on
intense.
the human and the dog.
Depends on the human and the dog. I have had dogs my entire life, and this has been the longest stretch of dogless existence for
Oh,
me since I was probably 4. So 40 years, we haven't had a dog for almost a year in the house,
I think they're
and
equally as
so
valuable.
yeah, I think you're right. And it's hard put a put a value on one or the other that's different. So
Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
uh, as long as they don't think about it too much, or like, you know what I mean? Like maybe if they're blindfolded and they just think it's a cookie, it's fine.
Name a four-letter word that starts with the letter B. Go.
Bark.
Thought you were going to be much faster than that one. uh, Name an onomatopoeia.
Thanks, Casey. Yeah, spoof. That is a four-letter word that's the thing about Whatnot. I have 1,000 nicknames. I'll just quickly divert. I have so many different nicknames on Whatnot. It's craziness.
What's
Um,
your favorite one?
I don't like Boof very much. I like Tommy Tape Decks. It's a pretty good one.
We've also got serial killer
Yep.
TPK.
Scrivello is a good one. I like Scrivello. That's funny. Yes. Okay, so sorry, back to your question. What
Oh,
was it?
that was can you name an onomatopoeia?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's a word that's like a sound, like hiss or buzz. Like there was a sound
Oh,
and they made a word for it.
that was it. Did you hear it?
No. What was the word?
It was very subtle, and it
Yeah.
was sort of like a whooshing noise. Whoosh?
Whoosh. Whoosh is an onomatopoeia.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. You
Whoosh.
said whoosh. Okay. Which
I thought
city
I
in
heard a whoosh.
America should not be included on the map?
Houston.
What does the acronym SCUBA stand for? I don't actually know the answer to this one.
I have no idea.
Submersive.
Submer-
Well, you can tell us then. I wrote self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. There we
Look at
go.
Travis. Travis, you're begging to be the next interview candidate on What You Want to Know Wednesdays right here,
Yeah,
Smarty Pants.
any sellers that want to come on, just send me a message.
Yeah,
I only have one show booked after this right now, so
he could put all of the he could promote all the different sellers in his beard by just putting the stickers like all throughout. Travis has an impressive
yeah,
ZZ Top beard. Yeah.
nice.
Yes.
Um, what is better, being
Are
organized or attention to detail?
they different? To me, if you're paying attention to detail, you are organized at a very specific level. Um, I am a big fan of paying attention to details. I think that people get uh, gloss over certain things that tend to have a big impact on the finished product or the outcome of something. And I'm a project manager, and so I have to kind of like pay attention to the details, or else shit doesn't work or we miss deadlines. So I'd say attention to details. Although to me they kind of go hand in hand. I don't know. You can have one without the other.
I think they can. I have like a big attention to detail, but I'm like chaotically organized. Like I know where everything is, but nobody else would be able to find it.
Yeah. So then if something were to happen to you, how would anything get done?
Oh, not like important things.
Oh,
It's like I organize my records differently than most people probably do.
yeah.
Because I organize them by first name, not last
Interesting.
name. Um, because I usually call an artist a lot of the time by their first name. Like if I'm talking about Billy Joel, I'll probably just say Billy if somebody knows. Or Billie Eilish, I say Billy. Or Taylor Swift, I say Taylor. So when I go to pull something out, it's what I call it. So
Okay.
that works for me. But also, like, somebody will be like, "Hey, have you seen this cup over here?" And I was like, "Oh no, I moved it. It's on that shelf on the top left behind this thing." Like I know where everything is.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. And it's interesting about the organization of and how you alphabetize because when you build shows and whatnot, it alphabetizes the way you do it.
Yeah,
Whereas I have everything alphabetized by last name, and or if like, the band is Soundgarden, it goes in S. But also if it's like, you know, Bob Smith, he'd also go in S, right?
right.
Um, and so sometimes I'll have to like reorganize and re-alphabetize.
Yeah. I
That
feel like if I didn't do that before, I probably would have changed to it now because of organizing stuff for shows
Yes.
so often.
Yes. So back to your how has whatnot changed you? I agree. I think if I were to go and re-alphabetize my collection, I'd probably go and do it by first name. Yeah.
Okay, these are a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hot do you like your shower?
7.
Yes, I wear first name, then last name. Like
Yep.
Michael Jackson is in the M's.
Right. And but I would have it in the J's.
Yeah.
So
Billy Joel and Billy Idol would be in the B's.
they'd be right next to each other. Matter of fact, unless you could find like Billy Justice,
Night or night, something with the no
Billy Knight.
I
Yeah.
O,
JKI.
something with a
No,
J
IJK.
E. Billy
I
Jenks.
Billy
I don't know.
Jenks.
I'm making things up.
Billy Ickstein. I don't know.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver do you think you are?
Oh my God. But I think I am 9.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would your wife rate your driving?
2.8. She hates how I drive.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to survive a zombie apocalypse?
I think I'm pretty resourceful. I grew up in a household where I had to be. I'd give myself like a good chance. I'd say 8, 8.5.
On a scale of 1 to 10, rate your dancing at your own wedding reception.
Oh God. Um, 4.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at trivia?
Um, fancy myself jack of many trades, but a master of none. I'd say like 8 or 9.
Okay,
I
these
think I hold
questions
my own on
are,
Jeopardy.
yeah. Do you watch Jeopardy?
I do every night.
So do I. I have met
The
so many people recently who watch Jeopardy every day.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the only show I watch religiously is Jeopardy. The only one.
yeah, yeah. I think that it keeps your brain young. You keep learning things, then it keeps you going, especially like in your career and coming up
Yep.
with new ideas probably helps as a project manager.
It does. I agree. There's something about it, just the randomness of the questions,
Hmm.
and um, I don't go so far as to keep any score. I know people who watch every day who actually like you know keep score for themselves, see how much
I
they've
I
done.
used to have whiteboards with my ex-husband, and we would keep score, but then I kept losing, so I stopped that.
Yeah, my wife always says, "How did you know that?" Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I
Yeah.
just use the clue and I
Hmm.
guess, but it's an educated guess, right?
Yeah.
So, but yes, Jeopardy is great. I agree. Super fun. I've never done trivia though, like bar trivia. I
Mm.
I want to. I don't have three other people who love trivia as much who live close to me that
Yeah.
can drive to the brewery.
They
So
should make like virtual bar trivia.
they
Oh man,
should.
that would be.
I bet it does exist
Yeah,
somewhere.
probably.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Australia.
If you could trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
If I could do what? Trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be? I think it would be really fun to see the world through the eyes of my kids because they are such interesting people, and I always wonder, like, what is going through their brains, especially one of I have twins. Um, one of them is more of the silent brooding type, but I know that there's a lot happening in there, and,
Yeah,
I think it would be really cool to see how the world looks through their eyes because 'cause they're always just so happy.
I love that answer. If you owned a yacht, what would you name it?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. Yachty McYachtface.
Yachty McYacht face. If your pet, if you have had a pet and your pet could talk, what do you think they would say about you?
That I probably talk to them more than they would have expected me to.
Okay. These are just an either or. Somebody already had asked Coke or Pepsi,
Okay.
night out or night in.
Unless it's Crystal Pepsi, then Crystal Pepsi.
Do they make Crystal Pepsi still?
I don't know. Do they?
I don't think so.
Does anyone know? I loved Crystal Pepsi.
I don't think
It
they.
was
I don't
really
know.
good.
Oh, they did a
I
bit ago.
think they resurrected it briefly and then it went away again.
Probably didn't
So,
take back off.
yeah, like Zima. Yes, alcoholic Zima. Alcoholic Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah. Are you a morning or a night person?
Oh, night person all day.
Introvert or extrovert? I kind of answered that.
Yeah, more of an introvert, although, like I said, I think, doing Whatnot has helped me become a bit more. My wife is always like, I don't even know who you are sometimes when you're having these shows. Like, I don't see this side of you all the time. And it's just, it's a different vibe, it's just, so, yeah,
Dawn or dusk?
dusk.
Cold or hot? Climb a mountain or jump off a plane?
I've done the latter, so I'll go with jump off a plane.
Chocolate or caramel?
Ooh, chocolate.
Cannonball straight into the pool or dip a toe in first?
Dip a toe in every time.
Big, big dogs or small dogs?
Um, I've had big dogs most of my life. So I think if I had to choose, I'd probably go Labradors are like, are they big dogs? I'm a big Labrador guy.
I have a black lab and she's 94 pounds. They are big dogs. She's on a
Yeah.
diet. She's supposed to be like 84.
Yeah, they're my favorites. We had black labs growing up, so
Yeah,
I
she's
can
awesome.
relate. Yeah, they're great. They're great dogs.
Um, Text or call?
Text,
Fist bump or handshake?
handshake,
Giving presents or getting presents?
giving,
Godfather or Star Wars?
Star Wars,
LA or New York?
New York, baby.
Love or friendship?
Friendship
Money or happiness? Should be
should be very easy.
easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone chooses happiness. Oh,
Paper
sorry,
or
my kid
plastic?
coming in. They have taken away plastic in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, so paper.
Sports or board
Fabric.
games?
Is fabric an option? Can I choose the
No,
fabric
but you can
bag?
answer fabric.
Okay, I'm going fabric. I'm going the third door.
There you go.
Yeah,
Sports or boards games?
usable. Um, sports. Yeah, being outside.
Street smarts or book smarts?
Um, I'll go street smarts, even though my exposure to the streets has been limited. I don't think I've learned as much from books as I've learned from actually doing things. I'm a very visual and hands-on learner. So,
Airbnb or hotel?
hotel. Only because I haven't stayed in very many Airbnbs, so I needed to get out there more. So,
Once you stay in one, you won't want to stay in a hotel ever again.
I stayed in one last year in St. Augustine, and it was great. But it was the only one I've ever stayed in. I've only ever
Yeah.
stayed in one, so I need to get more exposure. Yours
Super
look nice,
Mario.
by the way.
Yeah, it was nice. I don't know the last time I stayed at an actual hotel. I always stay at an Airbnb unless I'm staying at someone's house. I just like having my own space and a bedroom and a bathroom and a kitchen, wake up and make my coffee,
Right.
like
It's like you're
that
at
kind of
home.
stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like you're at home.
Yeah.
Plus, it's amazing for when you go with kids. If you're on vacation with children, they have their own room and then like a living room. You've got a room. It's amazing.
Yeah. It definitely was really nice.
Sometimes Iowa Brewer, but when I just went to the East Coast, hotels were like 300 to 400 a night. Cheapest was maybe like 150, but that's like a Motel 6. And I got an Airbnb for 7 nights for $800. So,
Wow. That's an incredible deal. You were in
yeah. I was in
in
Jersey.
uh in Jersey. Okay.
I was in
Hoboken?
Hackensack.
Hackensack. Yeah, that
Yeah.
began with an H. Okay.
Yeah, I get worried too, Mark. But they're supposed to disclose if there's cameras anywhere. But I go through the entire house when I get there to find anything that I think might be something bad, and I've never had any issues. Um, so I like
That's
them.
crazy.
I think they're great. It's a great transition to kind of the end of the show. I did ask most of my questions. There were a couple other questions I was going to ask. You already talked about your marriage, you have children. What's your favorite place to go on vacation?
Bar Harbor, Maine. It's on the kind of the northern coast. You're like right over across the water from Nova Scotia. As Acadia National Park up there, we go every year. It's beautiful. You have very little cell phone reception. The air is very clean. Um, the people are nice. The beer is good. The food is good. Um, it's spectacular. Someday
Nice.
we'll probably have a second house there. So
Nice. What's your favorite thing about your day job?
the diversity of the people I work with, never having to really do the same thing twice. I work in mergers and acquisitions. So when we buy companies, I help to integrate those companies into my company. And every company is different, right? From a cultural perspective, from a people perspective, from a systems perspective. And so you're always kind of exploring new challenges and trying to solve new problems and meet new people. And I like the diversity of the work. I kind of get bored easily in the corporate world, so it keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, that's my job's never boring. It's never going to end. It's never boring. There's always something new. I'm a
Yeah.
supervisor in work comp claims. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
always very interesting. I know way more medical knowledge than I ever thought I'd ever know. And I kind of like that. So, yeah, I like that too. Kind of keeps you going.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I consult, so it's like
Jenna.
I'm
Have you
I
seen
don't
that,
watch that.
Tom?
I don't watch that
Oh,
show. No.
it's so on point.
Oh, did they do acquisition?
They're a huge media company.
That's who I work for. I work for a huge media company.
Yeah, and a
Yeah,
lot of it is about the business being sold or keeping it and trying to get other businesses and doing all that stuff. And you not only look
that's what I
kind of
do.
like him, but you sound like your mannerisms and your voice and everything are very similar. Except he was a drug addict and a drunk and you're not.
Oh no. Yeah, I just had this one beer. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the end of the show. I usually just tell you a little bit about what we have going on at Best Coast Music, and then I'm going to hand it off to Tom, and Tom's going to tell you what one more hour. I have to put my kid in the bath. If you want to come here and give him a bath, and I could stay on another hour, but not today. Favorite whatnot seller who's also in the army can only choose one
Johnny.
because he's not here. Good choice. So at Best Coast Music, we're
I
back
still
with a
love you too,
show
Mark.
in separate places on the same screen. On Sunday, we are bringing back the mystery game show. So it's you win an auction, you spin the wheel, you win a vinyl. And then no interview next week. The week after, I will have Little Shop of Hot Rods. And then on the 28th, no, wait, I forgot one thing. Saturday, Channel 910 is going to have a show. They're going to do Army trivia, and then they're going to raid into me where myself and about 5 other people, buyers and sellers included, are going to eat MREs that we bought from Mark live. It's
That's gonna be
going to be a
awesome.
great time. Um, yes. And then on the 28th
Yeah.
of this month, I have organized a Cheers to Queers Pride Parade raid train. It's from 12 Eastern to 8 Eastern. It's not horribly long, but check out that. And then on the 29th, there's going to be the Yacht Rock Island party. So check that out. We're not in it, but I want to promote it for everybody else. So, Tom, go ahead, take it away. Take as long as you want. Tell us about what you got coming up.
Cool. I think I only have two shows on the calendar right now. They're both all vinyl shows, mixed bag, mixed genre, vintage, some sealed, some in shrink, but one's on the 18th, so next Wednesday. And then another one, I believe, is the 1st or 2nd of July, toward the end of June. Um, we probably be doing the monthly uh, Vinyl Express Raid Train in July. That'll be the first Saturday in July. I don't know what date that is, but there'll be a show for that. And then the Cassette Caravan, which I do every other month, that will most likely also be in July, and that's really great. Stacy, you should definitely think about having a cassette seller on What You Want to Know Wednesdays. One of these days, just
Yeah,
to mix it
I
up a little bit. I can give you some
totally open to it.
recommendations.
Hmm.
But there's some really great sellers in the cassette category that do a fantastic job, and we do every other month cassette caravans, kind of like the LP raid trains, similar format. We kick it off with giveaways, and we have shows all day long. So that'll be probably like middle of July. I have a ton of stuff that I'm still working through, so there will be more shows throughout the summer. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. If you are in the tri-state area at all, and you're in the Bucks County area of Pennsylvania, you should come and check out my wife's restaurant. She owns a sushi restaurant in New Hope called Nozomu, and they're great. So if you're ever nearby Philadelphia or the surrounding areas, hit me up, and I can make sure you get a good table and get some really good sushi. Yeah, Danny, definitely. You're not that far. You can make it here in probably an hour ish. Super Kelsey is here. That's one of the great cassette sellers that I was telling you about earlier. She's fantastic. Travis T. Sum was here. Iowa Brewer. He does cassettes. Dig It Up does cassettes. So
Yeah,
um,
anybody who is a seller in the media category and is interested in coming on for an interview, just send me a message. Click right there.
and-
Also, the ladies' train, I forgot. Ladies' train is on June 21st. So, Tom, you get to pick who we raid. You can pick anyone you want. Just give me the
all
name
right.
and let me know, and then we'll Send a raid over.
All right. Am I able to see who's on? Because when I
Um,
click this button, it just says leave
you should be
show.
able to minimize the show. No.
I don't see a way to minimize the show.
Okay. I
Why
can
don't we
look and
just,
see.
yeah, give me a few options. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I gotta minimize myself. Okay. We've got Spin Me Round Store, Nikki, Record Selector LV, Funky One, Bird Records, Jake Vinyl Jones, Paul's Boutique. There's a lot of people on.
Let's
Punk Rock
raid Paul's
Drewski,
boutique.
Paul's
Paul
Boutique.
Paul is a Eagles fan as well, so he's in Connecticut, I think, or somewhere in the up there. But he's a
Yeah,
Philly
I think
sports
he is.
fan,
Yep.
so
Paul's Boutique CT.
let's go.
Okay, guys, we're going to go
Thank you
send
so
a raid
much.
over. Everybody give him some love. Let them know that Tom picked the raid and send a follow his way. Thanks for being on, Tom. Thanks for everybody watching. See you guys later.
This is all.